it's time for our scarf of the week, and today we're making a broomstick lace pattern. This is a little bit of an unusual technique if you haven't played with it before. Here we've got a skinny little scarf, which is really cute. It would be just a perfect little accent without adding too much warmth. And this scarf is worked lengthwise. So you begin by chaining something like 250 stitches. We're going to make a little sample here on fewer stitches than that. But I'm just going to give you a little sneak peek into the world of broomstick lace. It begins with a foundation chain, just like many crochet projects. So you just go ahead and chain normally according to the pattern. I'm just doing a small sample here where I've chained 12. And then the loop on your chain, the live loop, you'll stretch it out and place it onto a large knitting needle. I've got a size 17 needle here, but you could go bigger or smaller, and that would give you a more or less open stitch pattern. And then what you do is insert your hook into each chain on the foundation chain. It can be a little awkward because you've also got that knitting needle there. Pull up a loop and then just kind of stretch out that loop and place it onto the knitting needle. And be sure that they're not too tight because that can make it a little tricky. So make sure you give yourself some wiggle room on those loops. And then just work all the way down the chain, pulling up a loop through each chain and loading it onto the needle. This is definitely a somewhat fiddly process just to get started. And you can really have fun with this technique, use lots of different types of yarn, novelty yarns. It's really fun to play with once you dive in. Okay. Did I miss my last chain? I think I got it. Okay, so the next step, once you've got all the loops loaded onto your knitting needle, is to transfer, for this particular pattern, 4 loops, but that will vary by pattern. But for this pattern, we're just transferring 4 loops onto the crochet hook. And then I'm going to yarn over and chain 1. We only do the chain 1 at the beginning of each row. Now we're going to work 4 single crochets into these loops. So I'm just reaching through all 4 loops of yarn, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then complete the single crochet. I'm going to do that 4 times in each section. And this will definitely vary by pattern as to the number of loops, the number of stitches, and that's what creates the variation in the stitch patterns for this technique. And it makes this really nice, really pretty kind of cinched fan effect. Okay, this is my 4th, and now it's time to move on. So I'm going to take the next 4 loops from my knitting needle, transfer those to the hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop. Now I'm just going to make a single crochet with the 2 loops on my hook. And then I would go on and do my 4 single crochets into this section. And then finally I think I only did 3, but I'm going to move on just so we can finish the row. I'd go ahead and transfer the last loops onto my hook. Again, yarn over, pull up a loop, single crochet with those 2 loops on the hook. And then I'd go ahead and make my 4 single crochets into this section. So that's just a little peek into the world of broomstick lace. There's lots of beautiful patterns available out there using this technique, but the scarf is a really good beginner project if you've never played around with broomstick lace before. So it's a fun one just to experiment with and try something new. So I hope you give it a try.